Hello, Merry Christmas. What a beautiful gift somebody has given you. I feel super honored to be able to read your toes and your natal chart. And each one of these readings is different and unique. And with your reading, I felt inspired to start with your chart, with your natal chart here, and relate it to your toes. Then we'll take a deep dive into your toes here. All right, so the first thing that I noticed when I saw your chart was your moon right here, which is next to what we call your descendant line. Your moon represents your emotional needs. These are your non-negotiable needs. This is your emotional self. And it's on your descendant line, which represents everything we wish to be. And it is in the sign of Cancer, which is a water sign. It's a cardinal water sign, and it is known as the most emotional sign. Now, based on your age, your gender, and these two things, your moon and your descendant, my guess is that emotional expression, feeling deeply, are things that you have suppressed in yourself and that have largely been beaten out of you, possibly literally. I would be curious to know about the relationship that you had with your father, and how that's impacted your life. This lifetime has not been easy for you. And the great news is that it has helped you in your soul evolution, and you still have some time to really evolve your soul. So I would just like to read some of the words that describe Cancer people. And as I read these words, I invite you to just sink into them and see how you feel about them. Does judgment come up? Does resentment come up for yourself or for others? Kindness, acceptance, nurturing, compassion, tolerance, femininity, gentleness, safe spaces, desire to be safe, high value on family and friends. The shadow side can be enabling, exclusion, rescuing behavior, and continuing forward with family traps and traditions that no longer serve. So I invite you to just sit with that and observe how that feels to you. What judgments come up? You are here to bring transformative change in this world. So there's something I would invite you to journal about is, in what ways have you brought some transformation in this world? You have in the past been an action taker, and there are still some actions that you have not taken. And this is where I can really see this super clearly in your toes. So let's talk about how what I'm seeing here. Mars is in the sign of Aries. And so it's at home in Aries. Mars likes to be in Aries. Mars is the ruler of Aries. Mars and Aries are the rulers of your third toes, which are your action toes. Now, when I looked at your toes, what I observed is when you see toes that are curving like this, it indicates that you have been blocked in some of the things, whatever toe is showing that way. And for you, it's all of these energies. And so in what ways have you felt blocked, unable to express, unsafe to be you. Okay, we're going to talk more about the toes in just a minute, and I'm going to talk about the energy of each of these toes. But again, the reason why I said, are there actions that you have desired to take but have not taken? These third toes here, those are your action toes. And the fact that there's blocked energy in them, they're curving down and pointing down, is an indicator that you have oftentimes felt blocked and unable, for whatever reason, physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, have not been able to take those actions, or have chosen not to because you thought that there was something that was more important to do, whatever the block may be. And that could be another good thing to write about, is what have these blocks been? All right. So we talked about your moon right here on the descendant. This is a very important part of your chart. And the judgments that you have around that give you the opportunity to do some transformation work. Pluto is also here in Cancer, and Pluto is the planet of transformation. So there are places that you are destined, if you will, to transform. You are a transformer because of this arrow pointing here to Scorpio, which is the sign of transformation. This arrow is where you're leading to. So what are the areas of transformation that you desire to bring into your own life and into the lives of other people? What are some things that you have been too afraid to take action on and to speak about, that you know are right for you, but you've been afraid to do that? And is it time to transform that? All right. Next, let's talk about your sun sign here. Your sun is in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is very smart. Aquarius is very unique. Aquarius is the rebel of the zodiac. And so I can see from your toes and then looking at your chart how there could have been some energy, conflicting energy that goes like this. Additionally, all this red here in the middle, so you see that there's red lines and blue lines, and there's a couple of green lines. Focus for just a moment on the red lines and the blue lines here. And do you see how there's a lot of these squares and these red lines? These are challenges, okay? These are challenges. You chose to come into this life to learn a lot and to experience challenge. A beautiful opportunity for you to really see what you've learned and gained from these challenges would be to speak to a trusted person, or write about or record yourself speaking about your challenges and what you've learned from them. I also get the feeling that that would be a precious keepsake for your children if they knew more about some of the challenges that you've faced. And that would be extraordinarily healing for you, because as you express those, it gives the energy and opportunity to release. So Sun in Aquarius, again, very quick thinking, very rebellious, very unique thinker. So, Aquarians tend to be a little bit on the fringes, and, it's possible that really didn't feel safe to be on the fringes. And so, you made a lot of personal compromises and sacrifices to not be seen as being on the fringes. And so what areas of your life, or what situations or experiences, do you have regrets and or shame about? It's time to release that energy. A great deal of your reading is going to be about energy releasing, because these toes here, they want to have the energy release. There's a reason why you were gifted this now, because you have time to release this. And as we do this work, as you release these blocks, as you release this energy, it will move forward through your children, through your grandchildren, through your great-grandchildren, and clear that for them. And most parents, most people want to clear the path for the people ahead of them, for the people that are coming after them. So let's take a moment with that intention to clear the path. And this is closely tied in with your relationships. You are a unique partner and a unique friend. And you're not quick to trust. And when you give your trust to someone, it tends to be a very long-term trusting relationship. But you'll also flee if the person becomes untrustworthy, or it becomes clear that your trust was misplaced in them. Your tendency is to mentally, emotionally, or even physically flee from that person. So what relationships have you fled from in some way, shape, or form? And is it a relationship that you're interested in revisiting? Or what relationships have you emotionally fled from, but you're still physically involved? And what would it look like to reshape that relationship? There's still time. You have time. That's another big reading that I'm getting from your chart. You have time to do this. Time is important. This work is important, and you have time to do it. All right. Next, let's talk about your ascendant here, your rising sign, which is in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is very driven. Capricorn loves achievement. Capricorn loves recognition. And yet you've got your Cancer moon over here that's like, oh, I don't want to be too immodest. I don't want people to think I'm all that in a bag of chips. I don't want, we get these beliefs about what it means to be humble. Capricorn is here to rise to the top of the mountain and be seen for it. And it's just right across here from, the crab. The crab who, will sidestep conflict, sidestep and hide in a hole. Whereas the goat, which is the representative of Capricorn, will stand on the precipice, the edge of a precipice on a mountaintop and be like, look at me. Here I am. Yeah, I did that. So looking at that balance in your life, where has the concept of modesty and humility shown up for you? Where have you judged yourself and judged others in that way? And where have you desired to be recognized and perhaps not been recognized? And is it okay to release the resentment that you have around not being recognized? We're just going to go back again to this beautiful Aquarius energy that you've got going on here. Your Mercury is also in Aquarius. Just like I read for the Cancer words, I'm going to read Aquarius words. And I want you to listen with an open heart and an open mind and really pay attention to how you feel when you hear these words. Feeling is the most important thing for Cancer people, and your descendant and your moon are right here. In fact, the words for Cancer people are, I feel. And you've largely kept your feelings hidden, blocked, and unexpressed. I'm sorry that was your experience. You've got time to let the tears flow. You've got time to feel. Don't waste it. Don't waste that time. Aquarius wants to be free. Aquarius knows. Aquarius is the revolutionary. Individuality, social change, freedom, innovation, progress, and community are very important to Aquarius people. Some of the shadow side can be some chaotic thinking, aloofness, and alienation. And this comes down to when you get put in a situation where the feelings might feel too strong, or when you're in a situation where the relationship is challenging you and you flee, that can be the aloofness side or the alienation side. We're going to jump over here to your toes, just talking about your toes. So your right foot is the external world, the way that you relate to and are received by people in this three-dimensional world that we live in. Your left side is the way that you are internally. It's your internal self-dialogue, and it is your connection with your higher power. Your toes have different energies that they carry with them. This is your spirit path toe on your left foot. This is your life path toe on your right foot. Then each of these toes has the same energy. It's just how it's presented, whether it's externally or internally. So this is communication, action, relationships, and trust and prosperity. When I first looked at your toes, the top message that your toes communicated is blocked energy, a feeling of not having had the perceived opportunity to truly be who you are, be who you want to be. You have in your life folded yourself up nice and neat and put yourself in a box that somebody else created for you. And that really hasn't worked for you, and it doesn't work for you now. As an Aquarian with all of that energy, as a transformer, as a feeler, that really doesn't work for you. Cancer energy is the ocean. It's vast. It's deep. Capricorn energy wants to be seen and noticed. And Aquarian energy wants to be an individual, wants to be unique, and wants to be appreciated in that uniqueness. And you haven't been. And you haven't appreciated that about yourself. Can you forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know? Can you forgive yourself for attaching your value to things that really weren't valuable? And the biggest question, can you love yourself even though you have kept yourself small? And are you ready to spend the next time that you have clearing that energy for yourself, for your soul, and for your children and grandchildren? I invite you to think about what each of those things felt like in your body. All right, your spirit path toe. Your spirit path toe, leaning over here, you've got some broken nails. There's some things that just aren't making sense to you in your spirit path. And it's time to decriminalize doubt. It's time to decriminalize questioning. You get to question. As an Aquarius sun, referring back over here to your chart, that is what you're here to do, to question things, to innovate. It's okay. Let yourself question. Write those questions down. Present the questions. Seek answers to the questions. That phrase, decriminalization of doubt, just keeps coming into my mind. It's time for you to decriminalize questions and doubting. What do you believe? What is your connection like with spirit? Is the way that spirit communicates with you different than what you were taught? How does spirit communicate with you? And are you open to listening? I would highly recommend massaging this toe using What's coming into my mind is that Cornhuskers lotion. You can get it at almost anywhere, but it's an oil-free lotion. And for some reason, that label is coming very, very clear into my mind. Using that lotion and pushing in towards the little toe here and pushing out on the nail here while you massage this toe, and allow yourself to be open to what Spirit has to share with you. Even if it feels weird, even if it feels like something different than you've been taught, even if it feels like it's scary because you've spent a lifetime building a structure and it feels like it might fall down. And what will the collateral damage be? These might be questions that come into your mind. And here's the great thing. By thinking about it, acknowledging it, shining a light on it, and journaling about it in some way, whether that's through writing or through speaking, that will be extraordinarily healing for you. And while you're doing that, just asking the questions, what is my relationship with Spirit? How does Spirit speak to me? And as you do this, I want you to imagine if the energy was tracking going this way and this toe was straight, it would open up this channel of intuition. It would open up the way in which Spirit speaks to you. That's powerful. Your life path toe. What are you protecting yourself from in the future? Have you experienced loss in some way? Has your career not turned out the way that you wanted it to? Has your retirement been different than you dreamed that it would be? What are you protecting yourself? This callousing and the breaking up of the skin there, that's a protection mechanism. What are you protecting yourself from? And the same thing with this, pushing the top of the toe towards the midline, pushing in right here so that we are creating a new energy pattern, inviting the toe to move in a straighter path, opening up your leadership potential and your path of intuition. And exploring, what am I protecting myself from? What do I fear? Really diving into the depths of what those deepest fears are. All right, your communication toes, they are curled up like this. This is going to take some effort. Either you or having a willing partner help you with this. So if this is your toe, really pushing down on the top of that toe and inviting that toe to go straight. And it might be very, very stiff right now, and that's okay. We're just inviting that toe. And again, doing that with that Cornhuskers lotion could feel better than just like, and don't push it, just inviting it. It might be like this. So just inviting it, bending it as much as it can. And I'm actually going to invite you to do that with all of your toes. This expression communication toe on your right foot is the most curled under. So if there was a priority and you could only get to one, that's the one I would focus on. As you release that energy, it's going to make such a huge difference generationally for you. This can be a beautiful gift that you are giving to your children and grandchildren, is releasing this feeling of not being able to express. Now, part of the reason why I started with your chart is because a male of your generation who had deep feelings, who perhaps cried as a child and was not only not appreciated for that, but likely had some severe consequences for showing too much emotion. The word that keeps coming into my mind is be a man, be a man, be a man. It's time to let that go. It's time to let that go. That's an old paradigm that is so ready to be released now. Generationally, culturally, and for you particularly. I will warn you and I'm feeling emotional about this, so I'm having an emotional release about this. Be prepared as you do this work on your toes. I know it seems silly to a logical minded, perhaps skeptical person like you. Be prepared to have emotions well up in you that you thought you had stifled well, that you'd buried them deep. Be prepared for emotions to come up for you. And this is why having a trusted person to speak to, a way to record yourself, either vocally or written, will be very, very healing for you. And be prepared for those emotions to rise up. It's time for them to be released. They're wreaking havoc in your body. Let them go. So again, if this is the toe, going like this and then just rubbing along the bottom particularly, and then along the top of that toe. This also has to do with the way that you communicate with yourself. What is your inner dialogue? What are you saying to yourself? Where do you doubt yourself? What is your deepest fear? Those can be uncomfortable questions, and they are liberating questions. I'm seeing kind of a cave with a light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to go through the cave to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. So the cave could be going into these dark places, these hidden closets of your soul, and shining a light on what's in there. It's okay. It's okay. Action. Your action toes here, also bent over. Not quite as much. I can see some nail on these action toes. And as we talked about with your chart, you are a person of action. Continue to take action and ask, what is the best action that you can take right now? Gone are the days of scattered focus and multiple actions. Focus in. What's the most important thing you can do right now in this moment? And then do it. Same massage technique for these action toes. Another great journaling prompt is, what are actions I wish I would have taken, but I didn't? We always regret what we didn't do more than what we did do. And exploring the question, what actions did I take that I wish I wouldn't have taken? And then going down the layers of transformation with that to really why, and am I ready to release it? So again, what did I not do that I regret? What did I do that I have shame around? And am I ready to release it? And if you want to go a few layers into the whys, that would be very empowering. Your relationships are very important to you. Relationships are extraordinarily high value to you. Have you shown that? In what ways have you shown it, or in what ways have you not shown it? What relationship is asking to have some attention to it right now? Are you stuck in a certain way of responding in a relationship that isn't actually serving the relationship? Are there strings attached to your relationships? Meaning, do you love somebody even though, or, we hear that a lot. Oh, they're a good person even though, or I really love them even though. Let's just take off those even those. You love someone. That's okay. That's good enough. There doesn't need to be any disclaimers on it. What relationships do you have where there are strings attached to it? And what relationships are ready to evolve now? There's some good questions for you. Your prosperity and your trust toes. You haven't trusted yourself in your life, and that's because you haven't listened to your intuition. That's because there's been a lot of blocked energy, tears that needed to flow that you wouldn't let flow, ideas that wanted expression that felt a little too out there, words that just got stuck in your throat because you didn't really know how to say it and you worried about the emotion that it would evoke if you did say it, both in yourself and in the receiver. Trust yourself. Whatever you're feeling right now, dig a little bit deeper. Just keep digging until you find the tip of the root. What's coming into my mind is like when you pull up dandelions out of your yard. And I love dandelions. Dandelions are oftentimes seen as weeds, but they're sunny little flowers. And so I use this analogy. I think the energetic way it's showing up for me in this way is a dandelion is because that dandelion can either, remember kids, how they'll go and they'll pick those beautiful yellow flowers and they'll present them to you. Ooh, I'm feeling really emotional. It's okay. It's okay. I'm feeling your emotions that you've got bottled up inside of you. So back to the children who gather up those dandelions and they present them with love and pride that they are presenting something beautiful. And then sometimes we see them as weeds and we go and we pull them out. And if we don't get all the way down to the very tip of that root, it'll grow again. And so digging down to get the root out of what you know is a weed, and understanding that some of the things that you perceive of as weeds are not. They're beautiful flowers. It's just a change of perception. That's some deep work right there. You're 100% capable of it. The question is, are you open to doing it? I invite you to be open to doing it. It'll make a big difference for you and for your family. All right. Top messages from this reading. Let the tears flow. Let yourself feel. I invite you to do the journaling prompts specifically about achievement and humility, about actions taken and not taken, and exploring the relationship with your father. And then the manual manipulation of your toes. That just means massage them. And as you're massaging them, allowing the blocks to be moved. Thank you for the opportunity to do this reading. Oh, one other thing. You have time. You have time to do this. Merry Christmas.